Alright guys, this here's Flamin. Give him a couple tips when he's cooking up some beef or chicken, whatever else he's gonna cook up when he does some actual pressure canning. Alright, so anyway, I didn't take you through the step of putting it in the can. Very simple raw pack. Put the uncooked chicken or beef in the jars. Do the lids like you normally would. I'd keep them in hot water, put them down tight, blah blah blah. And then put them in your canner. You can see I started off, well, I don't know if you can see. I started off with about an inch of water, but the level come up to about halfway up the lower level of jars. So that's fine. So yeah, I've got some cans of beef and some chicken in here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the lid on, lock that down. Now once you have this up to a boil and you have your lid on and that's locked down, you're going to let it go for about 10 minutes. Give it time to get all the air out and fill the rest of that chamber up with steam, because that's what's going to do the cooking. So I will be back in 1 minute. Alright, so I got the top on. Everything's locked in. Right now I have the heat on high. I'm going to leave it on high until I get up to probably 8, maybe 9 pounds. Then I'm going to scale it back a little bit. I'll probably go down to about between medium and high. Let it get up to right about 10 pounds. And then I'm going to turn it back down to, on my stove, right around there will give me 11 pounds. So I'll run it right about 10 and a half, 11 pounds. But you're going to have to tweak that a little bit. Your stove might be a little different. So for the first, maybe 20 minutes or so, keep an eye on the gauge. Try to adjust your heat a little bit so you got it somewhere right around 11 pounds, depending on your altitude. Once you have it at that good solid 11 pounds, that's when you begin your processing time, not before then. So once you got your 11 or 12, again depending on your altitude, you will begin your processing time. For the 1 pint jars, it is 75 minutes, and for the big quart jars, it's 90 minutes. But once you start your processing and you're holding that 11 pounds, that's okay if it goes up a pound higher, that's fine. You can tweak it back down a little bit and get it just right. But if at any time during the processing your pressure drops below the recommended poundage for what you're cooking, you got to bring it back up and start the processing time all over again. So it doesn't matter if you process this for 60 minutes and then it drops below. You got to bring it back up, then start the processing all over again, starting from 0, and then reprocess them for the 75 minutes or 90 minutes. So again, for the first 20 minutes or so, keep a good eye on that gauge. Make sure you're holding your pressure pretty steadily, and adjust it up and down a little bit as needed. And once you're good, once you start your timer, I would check it maybe about every 10 or 15 minutes just to see how she's holding. You can see I'm starting to get a little steam coming up out of that steam vent. So like I said, I'm going to give that a good 10 minutes. Let a really good blast of steam, solid steady steam, come out of there. Then I'll know all the air's out of the chamber, and I'll go ahead and put my weight on, and then I'll adjust my temperature and give it time to build up some pressure and start my processing when I hit 11 pounds. Alright, I will be back. Alright guys, so you can see the steam vent here is steaming pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and put my weight on it. You can see my little pop-up in the back is up. That means we're now starting to build up some pressure. So from this point on, men, we're just going to go ahead and Again, let that build up to probably 8 or 9 pounds. I'll adjust my heat down just a little bit. Once I get it about 10 to 11 pounds, I'll go ahead and set that heat to where I normally set it. Again, you'll probably have to adjust your stove up and down a little bit until you get it just right. So I'll be back once we build up a little pressure here. Alright, man, so just about up to 10 pounds. I turned the heat down to medium. I'm going to let it kind of settle in for a few minutes and check back, and hopefully we'll be sitting about 11 pounds in, and then I'll begin the process timing. Alright, man, so I'm up to 11 pounds. It's been holding the 11 pounds for about a minute or two, so I'm going to go ahead and start my process timing right now. Again, if it goes up a little higher than your processing poundage, whether you're doing 10 pounds, 11 or 12, again, go by your altitude. If you go a little higher than that, that's fine. Adjust the heat down a little bit. You don't have to change the processing time. Only if you drop below the recommended processing pressures, then you'll have to bring it back up to pressure and restart the timer. So I'm going to go ahead and kill this video, and when this is done processing, I'll be back. Alright guys, just a little update. So I'm 45 minutes in, and we are holding a good rock solid 11 pounds. And I'm just a little under half heat. But again, your mileage may vary. So she's holding good. I'm going to process it for another 30 minutes and turn it off. Let the pressure come down on its own before I open it up. Alright, be back. Okay, so we are done processing. 75 minutes time. And we are going to turn off our heat and let the canner lose the pressure on its own. Do not take off the weight and do not open it up. Turn off the heat, let it come down on its own. It'll probably take about 15 minutes to drop back down to zero. Once the pressure is back down to zero and you see a little pressure indicator button there, drop back down. That means the vessel is not pressurized. You can go ahead and take your weight off and then take the lid off. But until that button is dropped down, don't touch it. Let it lose the pressure itself. Don't try to help it along. Don't rush it. And once the pressure is off, you take your lid off. Take out the jars, put them on a cloth, on a counter, a table, whatever. But make sure you put them on some kind of a cloth so they don't sit directly on a cold surface. Let them sit overnight, 8, 10, 12 hours, 24 hours. Let them cool on their own. They should seal themselves usually within a matter of a few minutes. And yeah, once they're all cooled off, you're ready to put them away with the rest of your goods. Alright guys, so men, that's about it for pressure canning. Pretty simple. Not a heck of a lot of different from water bath canning. So that's it. I'm going to let this come down on its own now, and know what I'm going to say next. Alright, you kids, get out of here.